made it through the convention. Congratulations.
Yes. Big congratulations.
We still have some nice light paneling today and some activities, but it's a chill day, right?
It is.
Yeah, this
It
is your
is.
comfy cosplay day. Well, I'm Jess with DCTV. This is Will, and then we have Holly there at the end. We have a very special show for you today. I'm going to save some surprises for the end for you, but we're definitely gonna be talking a lot about the Dragon Awards, which took place last night.
That was really awesome.
Yeah, that's it's a great tradition that's been going on here, so I'm really excited to see the winners.
Did you vote this year?
I actually didn't.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh, come on,
I'm
but
a bad attendee.
You're a fan, and these
I'm
are
a
the
huge
fan-driven
fan,
awards.
and yeah, but looking at the list, I think my votes would have just gone right in the same
They're
vein
pretty right in line.
Yeah, they're pretty much right where I would say I am. So we are going to first talk about announcements and things that have changed. Then we will be talking more about the Dragon Awards, going into a segment,
Yes.
which I'm also very excited about. So there's only 2 scheduling changes today, only 2 because it's Monday. Zachary Levy will not be at the Shazam cast Qualities of a Hero, Monday 10 a.m. right here in Centennial 2-3.
So if you're here for Zachary Levi this morning, sorry, you get us.
But you don't want to leave because we've got an exciting couple
Yes,
surprises.
we do. You get a special surprise. So
As an update, William Shatner Live, always a great show, is Monday 10 a.m. It was going to be in the Grand Salon Hilton, but now it's in the Atrium Ballroom in the Marriott. So quickly run from one to the other if you happen to be watching this.
or run from here there after you're done watching us. So.
So that is it from the Daily Dragon today.
But we do have the art show, so I want to plug that again because today is the charity auction. The art show is going to be going on from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. today. Even after the auction, there's still going to be some great art to go check out and see. I highly recommend you go check out the art show. It's here in the Hyatt, but it's on lower level 2, and you'll be able to check it out here. That is at 11:30 if you want to actually buy anything in the auction. I do think you need to bid well before then.
And this is the first time in a while that they've done just a live auction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I was younger and coming to this convention, the live auction was primarily the way that they sold art. So it's going to be
Exactly,
really
yeah.
exciting to see everybody get competitive about the art that they love.
And they have those little heart-shaped boxes this
Yes.
year.
And some of them are decorated by children. Did you see there was a
Yes.
neat little pile of about 20 of them that kids had done. So they're getting kids into philanthropy when they're young these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful, fandom and philanthropy together.
Exactly, yeah.
That's a hard thing to say, fandom and philanthropy.
Especially
Yeah.
at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm proud of you,
Exactly.
Holly.
I'm very impressed.
So we do have a segment, Will.
Ooh, yes, the
Yes.
Science Power Hour. This is a fun segment. Have you been there before?
I haven't actually been to the Science Power Hour.
Well, let's check it out.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Bea from DragonConTV, and I'm here in the Hilton Atlanta Conference Center to check out the Science Power Hour with the Atlanta Science Festival. I have a few friends here with me. Are we excited to go check out the Power Hour? Yes! I'm here with Julie Fouché, who is a volunteer with the Atlanta Science Festival, and they are putting on the Science Power Hour today. What are we going to see today?
A little bit of everything. So we have everything from coloring sheets and activity papers to paper kites. We have some meteorites. We have DNA extraction. We have a portal planetarium, paper circuits, something for everybody and every age and ability.
Science Festival, is that a part of DragonCon or something local?
So that's something local to Atlanta. Sci Atlanta is something that's here in Atlanta, and it's the parent organization of Atlanta Science Festival. So if you're looking for year-round science engagement opportunities, look them up, get involved in some way. There's something for everybody with them. But Atlanta Science Festival is an event that happens in the spring, and they're the ones who kind of sent me out here to do this work, and that's why I'm here.
So if you had to pick an event here today, what is your favorite?
So the planetarium next door, which I haven't gotten a chance to go into yet, is here from Fernbank Science Center, and it's amazing. We're running 2 different shows in it, and I want to go crawl in there so bad.
It is amazing, so you've got to check it out. Thank you so much for helping to facilitate this event and bringing the Science Power Hour to DragonCon. We absolutely love this event and love to see it every single year. I'm here with Johnny. What are you working on right now?
So I'm working on this, and
Is that a helicopter?
yeah, it spins really fast.
Whoa! So I see you added some paper clips. What do the paper clips do?
It makes it heavier.
So what do you think is better? Like 1 paper clip, 2 paper clips? Like, are you a 3 paper clip kind of guy?
One paper clip makes it go the highest.
So you did a little experimenting to see which was the best?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm gonna have to try this out for myself, and we'll see if 1 paper clip is the best.
Okay.
There's a bit of a controversy about how many paper clips is best. Lila, what's your input?
I think that having 2 or 3 paper clips is best, because if you throw it in the air, it's like it's up when it's upside down, and then it flips because the paper clips. And if it moves to the side, the paper clips will stabilize it. And so I think 3 is best.
Well, that is a good supporting evidence. Evan, what about you?
I personally think that 2 paper clips are good, and then I added wings, and it just spins a little better with the wings, and like she said, the paper clips help make it more stable. And I'm also curious whether or not if you tilt the wings in certain directions, if it'll affect the spinning.
Oh, I see. So there's going to be some further investigation. Jackson, what is your thoughts?
3. I think it stabilizes it really well.
All right, well, let's see this in action. We're going to find out how many paper clips is best. We've had a great time here at the Science Power Hour. I don't know that we found out just exactly how many paper clips is best, but we've had a fun time trying to find that answer. This is B, signing off from DCTV.
Well, that looked amazing.
Yeah, the Science Power Hour is always a great thing to go to at DragonCon every year.
There's so many things to go to. I never have like space in my schedule for everything, but that's the beauty of DragonCon.
That it is.
We all need time turners, like, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, goodness, if I had a time turner,
Oh, I would see everything.
Everything.
Everything, and then sleep for a week.
Well, guys, this morning we wanted to talk about some more things to do with science fiction, and the Dragon Awards happened last night here at 5:30, and we don't know if you were able to watch them or not, but the Dragon Awards are really special because they're fan-driven literary and media awards, and all of the nominees on the list are really important because it's kind of like those little lists that you used to get of books back when you were in school, in grade school and high school, that had all these books that people who had decided were just great books. And so since we're kind of a family here at the con, these are fan favorites of people who are like you. And so if you like a particular type of category, it's a good place to find it. Because if you're in a book club like me, sometimes you'll find yourself reading all these kind of random books, but these are books that are sort of recommended that you're pretty much sure to like, kind of like some of those reading lists when you were a kid.
Yeah, it's your dream summer reading list.
Yeah,
like,
dream
if I would have
summer
gotten
reading
assigned this reading list.
So I actually went in and I copied the page so that I have the list of the authors that
And no offense to Oprah's book club, but these are better.
Yeah, this is way better.
Totally. So the nominees' works were all excellent, and we urge you to check them out. And the 2019 award winners, can you guys take it away?
Absolutely. So our best science fiction novel this year is A Star-Wheeled Sky by Brad Torgerson. We have the best fantasy novel, which is including any paranormal fantasy, is House of Assassins by Larry Correia. Best young adult middle grade novel, Blood Witch by Susan Dennard. Best alternate history novel, Black Chamber by S.M. Sterling. Best horror novel, Little Darlings by Melanie Golding. Best comic book, Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And of course, best graphic novel, X-Men Grand Design Second Genesis by Ed Piskor, which is a fantastic graphic novel.
It's definitely on my list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every time I leave con, I have a list of things to watch, to read, and to look at.
I actually can check the bottom 2 off my list. I did read those this year, and they were great.
So the best science fiction or fantasy TV series, no surprise here, Good Omens from Amazon Prime. Best science fiction or fantasy movie, Avengers Endgame by Anthony Russo and Joel Russo. Best science fiction or fantasy PC console game, Red Dead Redemption 2 by Rockstar Games.
Now that's fun.
I know,
I gotta be honest with you.
I've lost many an hour to that one. Best science fiction or fantasy mobile game, Harry Potter Wizards Unite by Niantic WB Games of San Francisco. Best Science Fiction or Fantasy Board Game, Betrayal Legacy by Avalon Hill Games.
So good.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I haven't played that one yet. Best Science Fiction or Fantasy Miniatures, Collectible Card, or Role-Playing Game, Call of Cthulhu, Mass of, oh wow, Nyarlathotep. Oh. God, I love Lovecraft. He's a master at combining consonants. Nyarlathotep, you guys can...
Nyarlathotep.
Thank you. Oh, see, I have a professional next to me. Slipcase set by Chaosism.
You can pronounce that. That's
Yeah.
good.
And
Yeah, we have a very special treat today. I wanted to announce two of the other winners from last night in literary category. We have the best military science fiction or fantasy novel, Uncompromising Honor by David Weber, and the best media tie-in novel, Thrawn: Alliances by Timothy Zahn. And we were lucky enough today to have those last two Dragon Award winners with us.
Welcome, Timothy and David. It's good to have you here this morning.
we are so happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us and waking up early.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
This is a special treat because we don't usually get to have you all here on a Monday morning because I can imagine you're pretty tired from everything that's happened this weekend.
We're getting kind of old for this sort of thing, as Obi-Wan said.
But you're still the middle guard, right? The middle guard of literary science fiction and fantasy.
Thank you for calling us middle guard, not old guard.
And you do fun things, like rumor has it that, David, you were riding in the parade in a convertible. How was that?
That was different. That was largely my fan club.
That's great.
The Royal Manticoran Navy. That's what all the folks in uniform were.
The Honorverse.
And they kind of suggested that the Prime Minister, that's me in the fan club, should be present. So the Grand Duke of Montana and the Grand Duchess of Montana were present for the parade.
Wonderful.
You looked fabulous, and you were riding with the tree cat up front. I don't know if anybody could see the footage, but it was wonderful.
It's amazing when you're so good at world building that people actually put you in charge of your own world.
Well, yeah, it's nice that they don't say, "Oh, we don't need him anymore," But I've been both impressed and touched by the extent to which the fan club has grown, and the charities that they get involved with, and it's just a bunch of good people having a good time, and the fact that they met through my books, it just kind of makes it a little special for me.
Do either of you all feel like the fans drive any part of your process? Do you see yourself, enjoying something you were surprised that the fans liked and seeing organically where your stories go differently? Because both of you all have had some fantastic moments in your series of books, and I just imagine sometimes that's like speaking to me individually, and I really enjoy that.
Most of the time, people's ideas are, I'm far enough ahead of those in the next project that it doesn't really come into effect. However, many years ago, we met a young lady who was cosplaying Thrawn. And we got to know her over the years, and she commented at one point, it's kind of you really need to get some female chiss into these books so that, I don't have to cross-dress, I can be, a female chiss here. And she was the origin then of Admiral Aralani of the Chiss Ascendants.
That's great.
That is amazing. Yeah, because, you created one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe, Mara Jade.
Thank you.
She got me through my teenage years. Strong female, fighter, the first one. I really think she was ahead of her time. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. She's a lot of fun to write.
Yeah.
If you like her, you'd love Honor Harrington. I have to put in a plug for that, for David's book. So guys, what is it like to win a Dragon Awards? Because you won this year in your individual categories, but last year you won one together, if I recall.
Yes.
So I know that you've come to DragonCon a lot. Has your experience changed since the Dragon Awards started? Have you noticed more people, or has that helped you in any way?
I don't really notice a lot of change, except that people are now interested in who's going to win the Dragon Award. I've been fortunate enough, I think I have 3 now. I get up the same way every morning I did before I won the first one, it is enormously flattering and validating to think that 20,000 voters, you were the one that they chose out of. In every year that I've been nominated, the list of nominees, any one of them would have deserved to win. And to see, in some ways, to see the company in whom you are nominated is a validation. Because if you're good enough to be on the same list with them, you must be doing something right.
Yeah. I've often thought of awards as being sort of like a marriage ceremony, which is a public affirmation of the relationship that already exists.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
The awards are, the relationship with your readers is there. This is just kind of a official nod to that.
Right, especially when it's your fans recognizing you.
Yes, especially. And it's the relationship that matters to us. These are nice to put on the mantle and to remind us that we're doing something right, at least on occasion. But it's the fact that we're touching people's lives that is the important part of what we're doing.
And the interesting thing about the Dragon Awards is you don't even have to be at DragonCon or a member or have a badge or anything like that. You could be all over the world. You could be, we were talking the other day, you could be in Singapore and decide, oh boy, this award is going on, I want to vote. So, I mean, it must feel amazing to have fans in different languages from all over the world of your work.
Well, I think that the Dragons have staked out a territory that works in the computer age, because of the fact that if you're living in China and you have an email address, you can vote for the book that, or the movie, or the game that is important to you. And you don't have to fill out the entire ballot. So you don't have to say, well, I don't think I know all these other categories enough to vote. And so it is a process that is immune to cliquism or to, well, I couldn't make it to that event, so I wasn't there to vote or whatever. And that, to me, validates them in a way that awards with a smaller voting pool can't, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's not to say that other awards aren't valid, that they aren't important, or anything of this sort. It's just to say that the Dragons have a larger spectrum, I think, of voters involved.
It reaches more people because I mean, a lot of the industry awards are based off of like publishers and editors, and it's not necessarily, you don't get the same feel as you do from the fans.
It's kind of a difference between Academy Awards that are voted on by the professionals and the People's Choice Awards that are voted by the people.
Still got to be nice to be voted on by your fellow professionals, but I don't mean to downplay those awards, but we just, since we celebrate fandom so much here, we just thought that was especially special.
Yes. Do you all get nervous when you publish a new title or a new short story or anything that goes out? Do you still get nervous when that goes out, or do you feel pretty comfortable knowing that?
Every single time, yes.
Not me, I just order another bottle of Glenlivet.
Oh, there you go.
Wait to see. No, of course you are. Every book, every story, it's kind of like launching a new child into the world, okay? And you hope you got it right. With a lot of them, you look back and you say, you know what, I could have tweaked this and it would have been better, I could have done that, or, I made a mistake of judgment in what I did here. But by and large, you just have to trust that, well, okay, they've worked before, and this is the way the story feels right.
Yes.
I think that's the critical point for me as to whether I can let the book go with confidence. I can't let it go at all if it doesn't feel right. If it feels right, I can let it go and move on to the next project.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we can only do the best job we can. How it's received by the readers, we can't control that. And that's the source of the nervousness. I know I like what I'm satisfied with what I've done here, but I don't know if anybody else on the planet will like it until they start reading it we get feedback.
Well, lucky for you guys, you have excellent taste. What was it like to collaborate? Because last year you won an award together. Is it a different process when you're writing?
You've done a lot more collaborations.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think we have. I think it's been tougher on Tim than it has on me. But that's partly because I've been doing things like, I don't know, face planting into floors and getting concussions and whatnot. Which
You got to
is sort
stop
of,
that. It's a bad hobby.
Yeah, but hey, but I know where the floor is.
That's
by
true.
golly.
That's true.
You've established that.
I have established that fact, and I can tell you that gravity works in Atlanta.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes, always good to know. Every collaboration is different because every writer has a different way of working, and collaborators have to accommodate one another to their style. And there's a huge difference between collaborating today and collaborating even 15, 20 years ago. 15, 20 years ago, you basically had to live in the same house if you were going to collaborate effectively. Now, with Tim on the West Coast or Eric Flint in East Chicago, they're as far away as my computer.
By the way, East Chicago is Lake Michigan, so probably
West Chicago. Hey, my dad was from the south side. Okay, I don't care about the east and west, but essentially, the object of a collaboration is to produce something that would be at least as good as any of the collaborators would do alone, but that is different from what either of them would have done alone. And for example, in the collaboration that we're doing, I've loved Tim's writing for a long time. He'd done some short fiction in some of my anthologies in the Honorverse, and I wanted these books to have a different feel from the Honor Harrington era books. And so Tim was the person who I trusted to do that. I do the hardware-heavy combat sequences, and then he incorporates however much of what I've done is necessary to make the story work.
Does that ever make you nervous, giving up a little bit of that control of your universe to someone, even though, because you don't know what might end up out of that initially?
Probably not if it's Timothy would be my guess, but...
Well, I trust David's work, too. I mean, I've been an admirer of his for many years as well. So it's not, for me, it's not so much giving up the control as my usual pattern is I start at the beginning of the book and go all the way to the end. With these collaborations, I go up to a battle. Okay, that's David's. I pick up afterwards.
Oh, cool.
So I don't have the flow that I would have in my own. And that is taking some getting used to.
And it interrupts Tim's process when I can't immediately give him what he needs to bridge that gap.
Interesting.
What we can do sometimes is I can say, okay, here's how it's going to end. But as a non-writer, you might think, okay, that's how much I need. Mm-hmm. But it's like weaving a melody all the way through the book. Yeah. You can't take that break in the middle and have the harmony continue properly.
You lose the flow of your characters' voices and the plot lines. Yeah.
There is a road in Chicago called Lakeshore Drive that comes along and curves. It's on the east side of the city, right along the lake.
Okay, I got it.
But it comes along and then it has this curve and down. And the reason for that is the road was started from two different directions and they were never intended to meet. And therefore you've got this jog. We're trying to avoid that.
Right. Yeah, that extreme left turn.
Yeah.
So it feels different.
Right.
Yeah, really good collaborations I've noticed. It has a coherent voice through it and it's different than both of the authors.
Well, there has to be, in any collaboration, there has to be one writer, one voice that does the final edit. Yeah. But what is incredibly important to remember when you're doing a collaboration is you're doing a collaboration because you respect the other collaborator. And that means you have to show respect to the other collaborator when you do the final edit as well. I was fortunate enough to help finish Jerry Pournelle's last novel, Mamelukes. And it was actually much more difficult to do because his son Philip has also been working on the book. I couldn't ask Jerry about something And so trying to be respectful of and accomplish what his notes had indicated that he wanted to do and everything, I didn't have that. I can sit down at the keyboard and ask Tim what he thinks we should do about this or talk to Tom about it. And it was harder because in a way I was having to hold myself almost to a higher standard because it was so important to me. This had to be Jerry's book. I loved the other Janissary books. It had to be Jerry's book, Jerry's story.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, I knew that it wouldn't be solely his no matter what I did.
Right.
Okay.
Because you don't share a brain. Like,
Yeah.
I've always wondered how, because I mean, so many writers who are into the epic fantasy and the large world building, unfortunately pass before they're able to finish their work. And somebody comes along and, you know, hopefully carries on their voice. But I've often wondered how the writer who takes that on goes through that process.
It's tough. One of the reasons that I am doing currently as many collaborations as I'm doing, and there are several reasons for it. One is I've been doing this for 30 years now. I've learned a few things, and it's a perishable commodity. When I'm gone, it's gone. So if I can pass some of that experience, some of that knowledge, some of that skill set on, this is a good thing. If I can find somebody who has the potential to really do well, I think, in the field and give them a little polish, a little exposure, that's good too. But I won't do a collaboration that I don't think is going to be good on its own merits. And I am also working, I think, with a pool of authors, any one of whom could probably take what we were working on together and continue it successfully if I'm not able to finish the story arc that we had in mind when we started it.
Right.
And because I have a lot of series going. I think I have 7 active series right now.
Your mind must be such an interesting place.
Yeah, that's a lot of worlds.
That's a story in and of itself there. I mean,
This is why he has trouble getting back to me on the battle sometimes.
but I want the reading process to be satisfying for my readers, even if I'm not there to completely finish out the storyline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to try really hard to not end my final book as a cliffhanger. I mean, just, I'm sorry.
I think that's a great writer's
You don't
goal.
want to have The Sopranos fade to black. And just...
Well,
Then they woke up and it was all a dream.
Oh, no.
yes.
We don't want that one.
No, we don't want that one.
I think that cliche's played itself to death.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. The first time it played itself to death.
So DragonCon has a long history of collaborating with literary geniuses. I mean, I like the chuckle
And then
there.
there's us.
Like we've always done writers' workshops. We've always really supported the literary community, and there's a lot of aspiring authors who come here, myself included. What advice would you guys have for aspiring authors?
Keep writing. A lot of people give up. It's a lot harder than some people realize.
The blank page is a terrifying place.
It is, and the only way you learn to do dialogue, characters, action, find your voice is to keep doing it. And there are brilliant novels out there that will never be written because the people who would have written them stopped. So the best thing you can do is keep going, keep refining your skill. I used to hate doing dialogue because I was never very good at it. Now I look at, okay, the next 4 pages are dialogue, I'll have that done by lunch.
Oh, wow.
Just because I practiced it over the last years. And,
Yeah, don't go there.
Yeah.
Because if you go there, I got to go there.
that's true. So my advice is always keep at it.
I think that is excellent advice. I think that learning to write is like learning to walk. You fall down a lot. Every time you fall down, you get back up and you've learned a little something about keeping your balance next time around. I would say also, if you want to write successfully, you should write the kind of stories you enjoy reading, because you'll have more enthusiasm for it, you'll enjoy it more. If you enjoy it, other people enjoy it. And I would also say that you have to trust yourself to fail. I use this a lot. It's a quotation from John Paul Jones that had nothing to do with surrendering the ship. He said, "It seems to be a law inflexible unto itself, that he who will not risk cannot win." And there are a lot of people who think, well, I could be a writer, I could be a writer, I could be a writer. If you don't take the chance of failing by submitting and possibly not being able to sell, one day it won't be, I could be a writer, it will be, I could have been a writer. And you will never be able to go back and get that opportunity again. I could have been published 10 years before I was, if I'd been willing to submit at that point. I was published, I was right, but I wasn't published as an author of fiction. So I had developed the skill set, but I wasn't willing to risk losing the dream. And there's a point at which you have to run that risk, or you can never have the dream.
So what would you say some of your obstacles were starting out? When did you fall down and have to get back up again?
Oh, I wrote a whole bunch of stories that never got published because they weren't very good. That was my learning process.
How do you keep going when you feel demoralized and when somebody won't? How do you keep going when you feel demoralized when somebody hasn't bought your stories?
Well, I was working on a doctorate in physics, so this was really just a hobby until the doctorate failed and I started doing it full time. So I was not, I'm doing this as a hobby, it is fun, if I sell that will be great, but it was not putting my whole life on the line. It wasn't putting my full weight down, as it were.
Yeah.
I just sort of backed into it in some ways.
Well, I think there are 2 points for me. One is that I've supported myself as a writer one way or another from the time I was 17. I've done ad copy, I've done political campaigns, I've done straight news reporting, I've written just about everything you can write. And you develop the skills and your confidence and your ability to handle the language when you've done that for 10, 15 years before you submit your first novel. The other thing is something that Robert Aspirin said many years ago, many years ago, always stuck in my mind. He says successful writers are like rats. If we don't wear our fingers down on the keyboard every day, our fangs grow through our brains and kill us. And
that's a beautiful image.
I think he actually had a point, because I don't know a single successful writer who would not be writing on his or her own, even if only for personal enjoyment. I don't know a single successful writer for whom writing is a chore. There are going to be times when you're writing, especially as a professional, when it will be a chore.
Yeah.
Because you just got to get it done. You got to get through the scene that's not coming together for you, or whatever. But it's a vocation that has to be an avocation if you're going to succeed at it. And so I think that there's a self-rewarding component in it. How many people have seen the original movie Romancing the Stone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when she finishes the book and she says, "God, that's good," and finds out she's out of Kleenex. Okay. When you're doing it right, that's the way the scene feels when you're done. It's like, I hit that one. I got that. It's where I want to be.
Like, I nailed it. You get that feeling of completion.
Yes, exactly.
That's wonderful.
Y'all, this was fantastic to have you here. I mean, this is an honor to be able to take some time this morning to chat with you about this. Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations.
Especially so early on a Monday.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming, for honoring us with your presence.
And talking with us, especially, all of the advice that you've given. It's been really helpful.
Well, thank you for having us on.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate you all. We appreciate you all.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you for getting up.
This will later be posted on YouTube, along with a lot of the other items that we have to show from DragonConTV.
DragonConTV has its own YouTube channel. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, make sure that you visit that after the con so that you can catch up on things that you missed. Also, DragonConTV, or DragonCon.tv, is a streaming membership. So if you missed any panels after the convention that you want to check out, with your membership, you can spend $10 at the DragonCon store and watch it for the next 6 months, I believe.
I believe, yeah.
So you can see everything that you missed since we don't have time turners.
Yes.
Yes.
Yet.
Working
Yet.
on that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us. We hope to see you again next year for the Late Show and DragonCon update
Yes.
and all of what DragonCon 2020 will have to offer.
Yeah.
Until then, read. We've got plenty of things for you to read.
Yes,
and
you have a
watch
reading
and play,
list ahead of you.
suggestions.
Enjoy that.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.